Hello and welcome to, what episode is it? What is it, of the Hallway Chats podcast?
17?
It is episode 17, yes, you are correct.
Welcome to that one. Joining me today are Explanation Point.
Hi.
Manime Matt.
Hello.
Math Wiz.
Maybe I can be heard today.
Yeah, there we go. And of course, your wonderful host, the Pedantic Romantic, marking more Hallway Chats episodes with me on board than without.
The official podcast you have been on for more than half of the episodes. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I think I forgot this last time.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Topic? Is that how this
very
works?
Special episode.
Yeah, this is a backstory episode. I always forget that the host introduces the first topic too. It's a backstory episode. It's not a recap episode, but it's flashing back here to see the origins of this elite team of podcasters. Very
elite podcast. Well, the thing is that this is just a stupid podcast we threw together real quick, and I mean it hasn't turned into anything super massive, but I think just the fact that the lore around it has gotten so expansive, it would be, I think, a shame to not talk about it in one podcast.
Fill you in on all the stuff going on behind the scenes that you may have missed if you weren't a pro analysis, individual like ourselves here.
Obviously.
I'm an analysis.
Good to hear.
So what should we start with? Should we start with the how the podcast started, or how whatchamacallit, how the lore started?
I'd say the podcast is a good foundation to start with.
Gotcha. I guess I'll start that because I am the one who kind of shoehorned this whole thing together. The reason why I created this podcast was because I did a podcast with the Anime Summit, which are a bunch of nice guys. And it was super fun. It was a really well-organized podcast. They had a lot of stuff going on well, and I was just a guest on their show. By the way, go check them out. Link in the description. They do good podcasts.
No, there won't be.
If I remember, I'll put a link in the description. But they had me on for the podcast, and I had such a blast with them. I was like, God, I really want to do my own podcast. Because at that point, I had been doing a semi-regular interview podcast thing with other anime YouTubers. And I felt like the only thing that they were missing is that none of them were content creators. They all just do podcasts, and that's it. And I was just I wish you guys had an inkling of what was going on in the community and so on. Just so
I wish you idiots weren't ignorant to the truth of this world.
Not in that sense, but I feel like they were in order to be more involved with the community, you have to be a creator in the community. And although the podcast was very well organized and very well done, it's also none of them did anything outside of the podcast. So I was like, you know what? That's what I want to do. I want to create my own podcast with other people who I think are good creators. And that's when I started doing research, and I looked into Podtaku.
Classic.
Podtaku is like the ultimate anime podcast that will never be. and
that will never be recreated. That was such a zeitgeist event, if you could call however many episodes, a year-long podcast an event, a 2-year, 3-year-long podcast an event.
Yeah, I think 70 episodes exactly, I believe, is where they ended. But it was kind of one of those things where I was watching them, and it was cool to see this evolution, because you have, who was it? Giguk, Arcada.
Arcada, Gene, who's the other core? Holden,
yeah, all these
the core 4.
Back then, and it's interesting because you could hear them evolve over time.
Yeah.
Back then, they were all maybe 5-10K subs, super small when they started Podtaku.
I mean, and decently sized for what the scope of the anime YouTube sphere was at the time. But yeah,
and it was kind of neat to see how they slowly all evolved and changed and became their own individual creators and found all their styles in this podcast. And it was really cool just kind of to go through that experience with them. I could see why Podtaku was such a fascinating thing. I was like, that's what I want to do. See, I want to create a podcast of not just creators, because I'm sure I could have invited Jeff or gone.
Be careful with your words here. So what did Jeff not have that excluded him from
let me explain. I'm getting there. Jeff is a fantastic creator. It's a case of I wanted to create a podcast of newer creators.
Okay.
I feel like we're kind of this new wave of anime YouTubers who have started in the past when we started the podcast in the past year, who were like up and coming, but not like particularly well known at the time.
Burgeoning voices in the anime YouTube community.
So I was like, you know what? I was like, let me just see who wants to join this. And so I was like, let me think of the crew I want. I was like, Explanation Point is like that was right brand new when you first started. Mathwiz, Pedantic Romantic, and that was like kind of like the three. I was like, oh yeah, those three would be like the perfect like trio. And then let's see if I can. I was looking at some other people, but I didn't end up like contacting them. So I contacted all three of you, and the only person who responded was Alex. And I was like, well, that went about as well as planned. I was like, Alex, I was like, what's up?
I don't remember you contacting me directly. You might have. But like I remember hearing about this from Pedro, who sent me a message saying like, hey, there's this guy Manime Matt who was wanting to do a podcast with newer creators. That. And I'm not sure about it. What do you think? Do you want to do it?
Wow, I didn't know this happened behind the scenes.
Behind your back.
Behind the
All
scenes.
the lore is coming to light. Yeah, now I remember that.
And I was like, I don't know.
Let me check back in my DMs.
That's a
and
commitment.
See
I hate those.
Yeah.
No, because well, my bad. I did get a response from Pedro, but it took you like a week to respond, and it was like, hey, I think it's a cool idea, but I want to see how it runs first before I join in. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, so he's a no. Like, she's a no. And
he at the
time. And I was like, all right. I was like, so Alex, at that point, I noticed this weird like duality between Alex and Brian at this point. You two would comment on all of each other's tweets. I don't know if you noticed you two were doing it at the time.
Well, this would have been like no, actually no. This would have been a little while after I had made the video about Bryant, and then he noticed me, and then it was like, hey, yeah.
I'd been following your stuff for a while.
Oh, you had? Okay.
Yeah, but you two were like back and forth a lot, and I was like, all right, well, I've got Alex responding. Like, let's see if I can force Alex to get Bryant in on this. So like, I pushed you like, hey, can you contact Bryant and see if he wants to join in the podcast? I think he'd be the great like third person to join in, and you managed to get him. I think you talked him into it, or
I dragged him in kicking and screaming.
After you talked
exactly
to him,
what happened? I think it was honestly. I think it was mostly that I'm a huge pushover. And when Alex was like, "Hey, that podcast is starting this Monday or whenever it was," like, I mean, I guess I didn't say no.
Thanks, guys.
It'd be really rude of me not to go now.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad I went. This has been fun.
I was looking for your initial message to me, Manime, and it looks like you just tweeted at us. You didn't like DM us.
You guys didn't follow me, so I couldn't DM you.
I think my DMs are open.
Oh,
maybe I didn't have them open at the time. I only realized that was the
mine weren't
setting.
open at the time because I didn't realize I had to open them.
Yeah.
Same.
Which I mean,
should probably do
it's
that.
probably good that they're off by default because not everyone wants "Hello, Miss" in their DMs, but
that's fair.
No, but that was the messages I sent, and yeah, I tweeted at all of you because I think I couldn't DM. I think I could DM Alex, but that was the only person I could DM.
But
yeah,
I don't know if you could DM me either, but maybe.
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. Thanks, guys. But it was just kind of like
17 of hallway chats. No one likes Manime Matt.
I'm used to it. Don't worry. This is not a new feeling.
I mean, in my defense, I had just moved into my new place. When here's the thing. I don't hold it against you guys. Yeah.
None of you knew who I was. Like
I knew
this
you
wasn't
were.
a case of like me
Manime.
like expecting a
Manime.
response from you guys.
If you're an anime YouTuber, I know who you are. Hold on, let's not underrate my community. obsession here.
Community obsession. Yeah, well, I didn't know you were like hardcore following. I didn't really know any of you guys back then. I was just kind of like, this would be a neat dynamic, I think, if we had all four of us. So originally it was just Alex and Bryant, and I was like, all right, sweet, well, let's start the podcast. And the first 2 fucking episodes were trash. Never to be released.
Can I release them on my Patreon? Can I have exclusive rights to those first 2 episodes for my Patreon?
I think the problem with the first one is that we like fucked up the audio so bad it was irrecoverable.
Can I have exclusive rights?
I can try giving you the footage. I can try rebuilding them when I have some spare time. I'll do that. I'll rebuild them, and maybe we'll do like a special release because the channel's almost at 1,000 subs. So maybe at 1,000 subs we'll do like a special, like, hey,
here's
our
as a thank you for subscribing to us in a volume as great as 1,000. Have this shit content we didn't see fit to see the light of day.
I mean, it's fair, isn't it? Oh wait, no, I remember because we named podcast 2 1.5 because Brian, you didn't fucking record.
Oh, no.
I remember that. We got like 3/4 of the way through the fucking podcast, and you're like, oh shit.
Yes, that did happen.
That was fucking great.
But yeah, so when I joined on here, I'd totally forgotten that like I was initially requested to be on from the start.
Well, that was the thing is, so we were planning on doing a podcast. The whole point was I'd actually kind of like forgotten about inviting you. And I realized like you had commented on like a few of the videos, I think, or you had commented on at least one. I was like, oh, so he's a watcher. That's neat. I guess he is like actively watching it. And we were planning on doing a whole video basically on the Pedantic Romantic.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh yeah, that'll be our topic for the day. Because you had just released the video about like, is YouTube a career?
Ooh,
and we thought that was super neat. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me just ask him if he wants to join the podcast. see if he's interested anymore. And you said yes, and you joined us like within, because I'd asked you like maybe 2 hours before we recorded it.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, sweet.
No, I'm very used to short-term podcast planning environments.
There we go. Any other secret ongoings I was unaware of?
Not that I think exist.
Pedro, did you and Alex do any conniving?
No.
I guess this would be a bad time to tell everyone that Matt dragged me in here against my will. Help. Let me out.
I low-key did. I was like, or else I'm releasing the pictures.
Where did the whole school theme come from?
Oh yeah,
let's
good
get
question.
to like the inception of the whole concept.
So the whole here, this is all just from a misunderstanding, which is fucking fantastic. I just never bothered to correct you guys because I was like, this is so good, we're gonna roll with it. Was the whole school theme thing it was just meant to be a background. I was like, we need like a background for people to do, and I was like, and the other guys, the Anime Summit had a thing where like it was just like their faces and it'd light up, and I'm like, that's okay but boring. Like I do like the lighting up faction, but I don't like anything else about it. And I had watched the video with the tournament arc, exclamation point.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that's it. I was like, we can all just be sitting in the fucking hallway chatting during lunch or something.
So like explanation points, sort of introduction of a meta-narrative element to his videos sort of inspired the similar stylings of hallway chats.
Exactly, yeah. And I didn't mean for it to be a meta-narrative. It was just like the first episode we did, Alex and Bryant were just like, oh yeah, so we're apparently in a hallway and we're in class, and you started making those jokes, and I was like, you know what? That'd be fucking funny. Let's just roll with it. I was like, I'm not gonna correct them. Like, I'm not gonna like say like it's just supposed to be a background. Like, let's just do it.
And then the very first actual episode was when we just broke the fourth wall, and it was all downhill from there.
I think so.
I mean, to be fair, if you had tried to correct us, I wouldn't have let that happen.
Fair enough.
It's like, no, that's what this is now.
It is now meta. Well,
that's not what Alex made me agree to.
No, I mean, it is like a somewhat one-note joke, and maybe it like gets a bit repetitive, but it's still a variety sort of content within a given episode. So I do think that this whole concept elevates the show in a really interesting way.
Well, I think that's also part of it, is that we've gotten, when we first added you in, there was so many requests to get your art fixed as fast as possible.
The amount of investment
because it was destroying the feel of the show. And I thought that was funny. Like, the show, like, it's just a podcast, bro. Like, and I was like, but it's true, because everyone's like so invested in this ridiculous narrative we've created.
Peeping out through the classroom windows, peeping in on our hallway conversations.
It's fucking hilarious.
My question is, when are we going to have the rival podcast school show up?
So I had this whole like new plan, like for meta narrative.
No,
No.
We go to an elite podcasting school. This is totally just ripping off of Shokugeki. We go to elite podcast school, and we're an underdog podcast squad that's trying to fight our way up to be in the top 10 podcasts of the podcast school.
This works really well because now we can move into a discussion of the expanded podcast universe that now exists with the formation of the Trans Culture Club, which is the after-school club that I'm a part of, where we are a podcasting club, so we're recording our own podcast over there.
That's so fantastic. I'm glad you built a podcast in the universe.
If anybody else wants
so
to
much
build
to
a
it.
podcast in universe,
No, actually, I want to say that though. Like, realistically, any viewers, if you're watching it and you want to build a podcast in universe, feel free.
We'll fight you for the top spot in the school.
As a matter of fact, aren't you guys on Jeff's like Weebcast?
From time to time.
You guys
I've been
should
on it
convince
for the past
him.
3 times, which is weird to me because he never has people like host more than once in a row.
Yeah, he's a big fan of you.
Aw.
We should have
him.
You should get Jeff to be like the #1 podcast of the school. Next time he gets invites you guys got to pitch that to him. Get him in on the meta narrative. It'd be fucking
You should
hilarious.
take over his
And
podcast.
Well, he
I
has
do
to be a
have
teacher.
one more podcast in the works that would be Expanded Universe, so
There you
look
go.
forward to that.
So what is this expanded universe, if I must ask, because I've been talking for more than I should be?
It's just all of these different podcasts, all this different meta narrative that exists within the podcasting school that was brought into existence with hallway chats. So within this narrative, we've of course got hallway chats, we've got Trans Culture Club, we've got one to come, we've got a little bit of storyline. Zaria is my kohai, my underclassman. She looked up to me from the middle school that's associated with this high school as I was a first year getting my start on the AniTube grind. And then me, her precious senpai, now a second year, she's made her way onto AniTube, she's doing her thing, and now we're in the Trans Culture Club together.
That is hilariously fantastic. Because technically we are second years now. It just all works out way too well. It's hilarious.
But then what happens after we complete the years? Then where do we go from there, Matt?
We all become
on to
like
third year.
Once we complete our third year, what are we going to do after that? That's the real question.
We're just going to start a professional podcast.
But still in the school. Still in the school.
goal.
Obviously. We'll go to college and then come back after those 4 years and become teachers.
We'll deal with
We'll
that
have
when
to-
it happens.
We have to go for 5 more years in order to make that plan straight. So we'll see how that goes.
We could just do a time skip.
That would be so much
Self-respecting
fucking
anime doesn't have
work.
a time skip.
Indeed.
All the self-respecting animes.
All of the self-loathing anime, I think you mean.
Oh shit! One of my childhood dogs just died. Damn.
Whoa.
Oh,
Yeah, I just
Live
got the
on
text
air.
right now. Or live, not even kidding. He was old as shit. Like he was like ready to go 5 years ago. Poor thing. He's a good little pug.
Aw.
Rip
doggy.
Leland.
Pathos and drama introduced into the world of hallway chats.
Yeah,
Who would
play
have
the
thunk
slow
it?
piano music. Cue the slow piano music.
No, but this extended universe is crazy. I think it's fucking fantastic. I've been cursing a lot just because I just finished recording like for this week's video, and I cursed a ton in it. So it's overhanging into this video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta record a video soon.
Yeah, I
right after I write the video.
When I remembered for like the 5th time today that we were doing this today.
Yeah, this isn't our usually scheduled time.
We're talking about behind the scenes shit. We were supposed to record a podcast on April 2nd.
Yeah.
And Matt asked if everybody was good to go tomorrow, and I said like, "Oh, I have plans tomorrow." Then nobody responded for like 2 hours. I was like, April Fools, I don't. I'm good to go. Then I slept until 4 in the afternoon on April 2nd. So I just didn't hear anybody telling me to come record.
That was great. I was like, I guess it wasn't an April Fool's.
It was horribly disrespectful, and I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It was funny.
We all get one. We've all have made that same mistake.
Well,
this isn't my first time, Matt.
Is it not?
I don't think so.
I don't think I have, but also I've only had half as many chances to mess up, so we'll see. Don't worry, I won't let you down. It'll come soon enough.
Oh wait, can I talk about the curse?
Yeah.
Ooh, hit me.
You wanted to talk about the curse.
The curse that is this podcast. For those of you who don't know, I edit the podcast, and I'm pretty talented with not talented. I'm just I spent 10 years using After Effects, so I know my way around the program, and I'm really good at building presets. So my whole plan with this podcast was I'll just build a giant fucking overly complicated preset. So every time we finish a podcast, I do like 3 minutes of editing, and it just throw it into the preset, and it finishes everything for me, which is fantastic when it works. But the last like 4 or 5 fucking episodes have been cursed. I don't know what it has been, but every single time I throw it into the preset, it has just exploded and destroyed part of the podcast. And it's just hilarious. I last week I got so tilted that I rebuilt the entire preset from scratch, and it still crashed.
No.
So let me go through the process of how it crashes each time to make my life as horrible as possible. So the first time I was flying down from I live in California right now, but my family's in Louisiana. So I was going to visit family for Mardi Gras, and that was a podcast that was 23 minutes long, or which podcast was that?
It was 23 minutes 1 second long. Yes.
Well, no, that was one I was able to fix pretty quickly because I could just render the other half away. But I think one of them, like, the voices cut out.
Right. Yeah, that's what it was. It wasn't that like the upload was short. It's that it stopped after X amount of time into the podcast.
Yeah. I don't even know what happened. I changed nothing to the preset, re-rendered it, and it came out fine. That was crazy. The second time, 23 minutes, and I don't know why. I had like work for the next 2 days, so I couldn't get back to my computer. So that's why it took like 2 days for us to get it fixed. But it was just like, 23 minutes was... I should have double-checked. That one was more so on me, because I could have double-checked that and saw the file was 23 minutes and been like, I think something's wrong. But at the same time, it's like, I'm used to it failing now, so I guess I should start double-checking. And then this final time, this one's like the icing on the cake. So this is like, since it failed and did the 23-minute thing last time, so it was roughly 2 or 3-ish weeks in a row where the podcast like preset has failed. Like, all right, fuck this, I'm rebuilding the entire preset, which is why it took an extra week for the podcast to come out, because it takes a while to rebuild. So I rebuilt the whole thing. I made it nicer. I did a lot of little tweaks to make it easier on me. And I went ahead and ran it through, and it crashed, which I was watching for. I was like, all right, it crashed, whatever. And I checked, and it corrupted all of our audio files. Whoa. All the audio files, it corrupted the base files, which is not a big deal for you guys, because you guys send them to me online so I can just re-download them. But it is a big deal for me, because I only had 1 copy of my audio file.
Yo, that's some ghoul shit.
Fucking corrupted my only base audio file, like to like the core. I was like, son of a bitch. So the only recording I had left was our overlay file, which was the generic file that I used to sync the audio. And I was like, it was either that or I sound like a robot the entire podcast. So I like cleaned up the audio. I was able to get all the effects to work still. and I managed to make it as unbad as possible. But that's why Pedro sounds like shit
for this one.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is you were just loud in the Discord chat, so it was loud in the video.
Oh, so you had audio of like it on your end?
Yeah, well, I do 2 recordings. I do a recording of my voice by itself, and then I have a bass recording that's used for audio syncing purposes only, and then I delete it. So it doesn't have to be high quality. I never make it high quality.
Okay, cool.
I
just want to know that wasn't my fault. Good to know.
No, it wasn't your fault. It was my fault. Well, it was my computer's fault. So I'm going to try running it through the preset, see if it was a one-time thing, cloning my audio this time, and then trying to see if it doesn't fucking crash this time and burn everything.
If my audio is bad again this time, you know who to come at for that one.
There we go.
Loyal
viewers. That was the best part. Everybody just came at you for the mistake, and I was like, I'm just going to let
even though that happened so you could save your own audio from being bad.
Yeah, I mean, actually it was. I really just kind of threw you in front
betrayal.
of the fucking bus.
No disclaimer. No attempt to rescue my reputation.
There you go. And it's funny because people get so defensive about the quality of this podcast. I picked up on that too. Like, I mean, I don't want to say we put an obscene amount of work, but like when it comes to quality control in comparison to most other podcasts, we are significantly better than like 90% of them. And at first, a lot of people were like super
outings for sure.
Yeah, we were super upbeat about it at first. Like people were like, "Oh, like, oh yeah, it's so great, it's so good." But now it's like become expected of us, and whenever there's like a slight flaw,
I mean, this wasn't really slight. Let's give him some credit here. This is pretty rough.
Yeah, this one wasn't so slight, but it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, how fucking dare you not have an image for Pedro yet? Like, what the fuck? Like, he's a floating head, okay?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's destroying the illusion. No, I think it's great. I'm glad they quality check me because that makes me not like get cheap with it, but at the same time, it's just funny.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we've built that expectation of like, you know, well, it's going to be high quality.
Good thing they don't have an expectation for us to pronounce words correctly.
Yeah.
Pedro Savage.
People, Japanese names are like the worst. Just saying. I will never.
Did Matt miss that one? Did that just go over his head?
Did Matt miss? This is what I slur.
You said expection, and so I said good thing they have an expection of quality from us, and I said good thing they don't have an expectation for us to pronounce things correctly.
Oh man, I'm exhausted. I've been talking like all fucking day. I've been doing recording.
So you have a lot of practice then.
I have a lot of practice. I'm sorry I'm a failure. Okay, guys. I'll live with it.
We can't make an exception. Not one mispronunciation if we want to be the top podcast in the school, Matt. Don't fuck this up.
We're re-recording, guys.
Delete, re-record.
Yeah, we're only 35 minutes in. It's okay. We'll try a second time.
Train. Expectation. Get it down.
Just do a whole training montage. Matt unlocks a new technique.
So sweet. That's the curse for those of you who don't know. This is the fucking podcast preset I built has just absolutely hated me. Although it treated me well for the first like 10 episodes, and then after that it's like, nope, fuck you. Anyway, so what else do we want to talk about, guys?
Yeah, we plan to go over the backstory and meta, but perhaps overrated the degree of material we actually had within that singular topic. So we're coming up with something on the fly.
The podcast is meta. There is a backstory. We're done.
Yeah. Boom. I don't know. Usually we do this. Usually whenever we make enough plans, we like end up ignoring half of the topics.
Well, that's good though.
Yeah, that's a good thing, but we screw up.
It's so much better to have too much stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I really like about our universe here? I like how we are just these, like, glowing gods. Like, every time we say something, we just light up. Like, we are just, you know, no one else in the school has that. Just us. We're just glowing.
There we go.
That's our special technique.
Has that. Like, the
to be fair,
Club doesn't do that.
No.
But they're also an after-school club and not, like, an official school activity.
True. They're not allowed to glow off school grounds and off
Right.
campus.
Well, we
This
got
is like the
stuff
special technology
stuff
that
in
our
development.
school
Don't
has
worry.
to help
Production
podcasting
values are on the rise.
You like that? I mean, Alex, you don't glow too much though.
No, I do
Aw,
not. I
Matt.
do not.
Shots fired. Nah, anyone else working on anything interesting, perhaps?
Oh yeah.
I'm working on my April Fool's video.
Of course you are.
Oh my god.
It's too good of an idea not to do. And I don't want to wait a year.
Please fucking do it. It's so you, man.
I'm gonna do it. Like
You have to wait
make it part of
exactly
my-
3 weeks though. Like if you do
I
happen
guess
to
I want to
finish
make
it
it part of my
early,
thing that I just release holiday and
Yes.
subscriber specials way too late.
It's got to
April
come out in
15th
May.
is the date you should upload that. So it's
That's
exactly
too early.
3
He's not
weeks.
gonna make that. You gotta be a little more lenient with him,
I
Matt.
was about to start working on the script when we started recording this podcast. Okay,
Yeah.
it's your
So 35 or so days out from completion here on that video.
I mean, I say this all the time, but this video should be pretty fast to get done.
No, I feel you so much on
Yeah.
that point.
Mm-hmm.
Go watch my great April Fool's collab with Manime Matt's sworn enemy. Pause and select.
With his sworn anime.
No, I swore an anime. Yeah, I do not want to make fucking
Link
enemies
that
with
down below.
pause and select.
Where
That is
pause
a fight
and select,
I will lose.
and I, performs a
Fucking
pretty
cook.
deep
I
and
saw it.
insightful analysis of food in anime.
I think I only watched like 2 minutes of it, then I was like, cool. And I closed it and it went away. It's like 15 minutes or something like that, isn't it?
It's yeah, he's part of it. I think I'm first.
Yeah.
I still can't tell, Pedro, if your April No Fool's Day video from like 2 years ago about Scum's Wish is actually an elaborate joke or not.
Okay, hold on, let me look back on that. Yeah, that and
Because you said like I wanna make a serious video when everybody else is doing jokes. Like
the scum switch is serious. And haha, see, yeah, I was right. Okay, I like had to rush to make sure like I got that out before April Fool's, so people wouldn't take it as an April Fool's video. So that actually did go up on March 31st. However, another video went up on March 31st that same day. That was like a stupid, absurd joke bullshit. So people like, wait, is this an April Fool's video? Even though this is the last day of March. And then the next day, on April 1st, I had my own like actual April 1st video too. It was a mess. The reason why is because the joke video that went up the day before April Fool's was like necessary to set up the actual April Fool's video. So I had 2 videos that needed to go up before April Fool's. So like I rushed to get those both completed and ready right before April Fool's. So the April Fool's I was making videos a lot more quickly back then than I did now. I feel very bad about the fact I put out 3 fucking videos in the space of 2 days and then 6 days later had another one. Those were the days.
yeah, I remember when I put out videos every 2 weeks.
That was a very short period of time.
No, it was like my first 5 or 6 videos.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you were really like on like the hype train for a little bit.
And then the second he got big enough to be able to stop doing that, fell off the wagon. He was
I got
productive
back
for
to
exactly
the
the
United
minimum amount
States.
of productivity as he needed to achieve.
I moved into a new apartment.
Yeah.
I was like living with my mom for a while I was getting into my new apartment, so I was super depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I remained super depressed for the next like 6 months.
Yeah.
Which is only a little bit of it. I'm also just terrible with work ethic.
Fair enough. Oh, fun like joke. The 1 week we were talking about like how I actually have a pretty consistent schedule. I fucking miss an upload.
Oh, nice.
Did anyone catch that?
Whoa.
Yeah,
I do notice now that you mention it, the lack of anime content. Yeah.
that and the absolute horror that I made my only positive Hunter x Hunter video the day before April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
Aw.
I was super nervous. I was like, oh shit, because like as I was like finishing the video, I was like,
Oh,
does March have 31 days or 30?
cool to see that your Jeff ripoff video did well.
Yeah, it did really well. I'm surprised. And I've just stopped reading the comments on the video. And I feel less bad about it now that I've that has been explained to me more properly.
Yeah.
That he has a survival guide series. Now it's like, oh, okay, that makes way more sense. So I don't blame people as much.
Oh god. Speaking of reading comments, like, I made a joke about Log Horizon not having a second season.
I was gonna comment something, and then I realized, like, oh no.
Yeah, well, thank you for not commenting something, because Jesus, like 20 comments a day.
Yeah,
like,
it's covered. Don't worry.
It's like, explain, like, you meant the third season. Log Horizon has a second season. Like, did you see Log Horizon's second season? Shit's terrible.
See, the thing is when you said that joke, I was like, is that like a setup for a joke that he's gonna? Like,
I didn't even
make
notice it. So
later
what was
on
it?
in the series.
Explanation point was like, when are we gonna get a second season of Log Horizon?
Like, on the screen, I put
You showed,
Log
like, what,
Horizon's
Spice and
second
Wolf?
season in the bucket we don't acknowledge.
Oh,
Oh well.
It's okay. People miss jokes a lot.
oh,
I think
the bucket we
Well,
don't
to be
acknowledge.
fair,
like that shouldn't be like stuff we haven't gotten. It should be like stuff that like is bad, so we don't acknowledge it. Right?
Well,
That was a
it's
joke.
full of stuff we don't acknowledge. It had the M. Night Shyamalan Avatar movie in there, which doesn't exist.
Okay, so I mean, mixed messages.
The Dragon Ball
but-
Z are IRL movies.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something.
I was gonna say that on the subject of upcoming projects, the one I am scripting currently is gonna come out. Well, actually, okay. The last Hallway Chats went up 6 days ago. So are we releasing this like tomorrow?
I'm going to see if I can. Probably not, because I have to edit my own video.
So the video I'm working on currently may or may not be out before this episode actually drops. So I may or may not actually be working on it when you hear this. But what I'm working on right now, as of the recording of this, is Eromanga Sensei 1 year later. And that 1 year later will be in 3 days on April 9th. So
I look forward to
I
it.
better hurry up with that because I'm still writing it.
Setting a deadline for yourself by accident.
Well, through like the very nature of the video concept, yeah, should be a fun video. I mean, the biggest amount of work for it in terms of the scripting process was all the research for it, which is completed. So it should be a pretty quick write up, all things considered.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, cause like, a project that I'm gonna start relatively soon is talking about the nudity in Maiden Abyss with regard to like actual lolly fan service in anime.
Ooh.
So I need to watch Eromanga Sensei, which I'm not looking forward to.
I'm assuming I won't end up watching Edamanga Sensei for this video.
Okay,
We'll see.
but still,
Even I
taking
would
my
not stoop
usual,
that
like,
low.
75 pages of notes on Eromanga
Yeah.
Sensei isn't something that I want to do. But watching it with Holden, if he'll agree to do it with me,
Oh no.
will be so much fun. Holden, my roommate, is an asexual man.
Ooh.
And whenever there are like sex scenes in anime, he gets very easily squicked out.
Yeah.
So watching Eromanga Sensei with him will be fun.
Well, no sex in Edamanga, thankfully.
Yeah, sure there's not. No, we were watching No Game, No Life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got to the scene where they were playing, like, episode 5 or 6, the one with the library.
Oh yeah.
And there's that scene where he, like, strategically makes all the girls' clothes, but also, like, erogenous zones disappear, so it's fine to show on television.
Right. Yeah.
Like, the fan service in No Game, No Life is really uncomfortable, but it's also really fucking clever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we got off topic. Not that we had a
Yeah.
topic.
But we're topicless at the moment, so that is, I guess, to be expected of whatever topic we end up stumbling upon.
Fair.
Basically. What about you, Alex?
Well, I will join the group of people who have made videos about Place Further Than the Universe, because I promised that I was gonna make one, and then everybody made one, and now I'm like, well, I have to do this. It's a character arc. I got to do it. I got to get over this.
It's funny.
So.
Like they've continued to keep trickling out even after my own. So at least I wasn't like the last person to get to it.
I am also making a Place Further Than the Universe video. Not a kind one though.
Much. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I just.
But
don't know
of
what to
course,
say about it. Like, it's really good, but I think everything that I would say about it's been said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
If
the
it's
lens
negative, it hasn't been said. In all likelihood, Contrarian Matt coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of things I want to say that I know haven't been said yet about the show, and I think I've
My video could just be responding to your video.
Yeah, I could properly. Here's the thing. So this video is meant to be as inoffensive as possible, but I feel like I can properly explain why I have the emotions towards the show that I do, which aren't particularly negative, but it's more of an exploration about why I found the show. I'm just gonna give away the title, underwhelming.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. Is at the end, I'm just gonna. There is a video.
Place Further Than the Universe is like our anime gold. So I imagine your video here is going to be our anime death, just instantaneously.
I doubt it, actually.
Maybe you can win them over.
No, well, here's
Not
the thing.
win
My
them
video.
over, but you'll be like the silent minority of people who have hated Place Further Than the Universe. I think will upvote your video.
Well, here's the thing: is I'm not. The video, I think you guys have to kind of see it to understand it. It's not meant to be offensive or like call you out for being shit taste.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm just saying our anime is extremely unnuanced in its reactions to things and will respond with the fury of 1,000 weebs should they have something that they find distasteful.
Totally prepared. I'm actually creating. Oh wait, no. Oh shit. Ooh, almost spoiled that. Never mind.
All right.
Oh, fucking close. Don't worry about what I said. Ignore everything I just said.
Our anime exposed.
It will be in the video. Actually, this video will be coming out afterwards, isn't it? Well, yeah, actually, almost definitely. I guess it's okay to talk about it then if that's the case. Just, I'm making a new series.
Ooh.
And a completely new editing style, which is interesting. I'm trying out. It's a pilot episode. It's called Manime's Controversial Opinion. Because I feel like I have so many controversial opinions, and I hold a lot of them back just because I don't feel like getting shit from them.
Yeah. So if you label them as such, you're hoping like that's sort of the premise coming in, and so people won't be as as
negatively
by
influenced coming in. Like people are like mentally prepared. Like okay, this guy has a lot of weird opinions, so they'll just kind of like. I mean, I'll still get attacked, obviously. Like I'm totally prepared for that. But not as much as I would usually be, which is usually a lot.
Yeah.
Just look at what video was that? My most recent.
The Hunter villain is bad and the other is good.
That one too, but no, Overlord season 2 sucks. Like that one was just like it sucks so far, and then I was right. I think I'm pretty sure I'm right, and most people are like, kill yourself. Thank you for the advice, sir.
That's why you get that kill yourself stuff out of the way with your second video.
Let's see.
Yeah,
but that's the plan.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big fat old dislike bar slapped up onto the table.
Those are pretty common for me, unfortunately.
See,
what were you about to say?
My motivation to finish this Place Further Than the Universe video, which is, I mean, it's like my angle on it, because I can't do the meta thing that Pedro did, because Pedro did it.
I already ruined the meta for everyone else. It's mine. I stole it.
So mine is, I'm going to use my more personal style that I've taken in other videos and just reflect that with the show. But really my motivation to get that one done is now I have a video, which I think is going to be, a nice hot take regarding Well, it's not like it's a new show. It's going to be about a popular shonen, because that's my thing.
Ooh, yeah.
It's actually not Hunter x Hunter. Although I do have an entire like series of videos I want to make about Hunter x Hunter, comparing the two different adaptations. But no, it's about a meme that exists surrounding one of these shonen titles, and I'm gonna look at it from a more like, critical lens and dig stuff. It'll happen.
Nice.
Critical analysis of a meme.
Well, like
that's where the YouTube money is.
It's like a theme, but it's also been memed. So like, there's legitimacy there, but it's also a meme. So that'll be fun.
Oh, how'd you like my Hunter x Hunter video? Did you actually watch it or no?
See, I did watch it because you were telling me about it when we were going to do the recording the other day, but someone didn't show up.
That's right. I remember we had this conversation already. Never mind. I won't force you.
Yeah,
I just want you
to
know that
it was all right, but like, I don't know. I guess it didn't. I've watched so many Hunter x Hunter videos that nothing really stood out to me. I guess.
Fight.
See, you did not have the proper response, Alex. You're supposed to say "kill yourself." Man.
Oh, okay, kill yourself.
Like most of the Hunter x Hunter fans.
No. If I could move my arms, I would have you at gunpoint right now.
Got you. Sweet deal.
Watch Asta no Joe. I remember that guy. Joseph Broseph III.
What are we looking at now?
The comments of your Hunter x Hunter video. You've got Joseph Broseph in there telling you to watch Ashita no Joe. He's an old faithful.
Ah, okay. Let me see.
You should watch it.
I honestly, the evolving shonen video didn't get too much. I think the most pissed off I got people were like when I described the power levels of each character in the original arc, the exams. And it's like, oh yeah, Kill was a little stronger than Gon, and Kurapika was significantly stronger than Leorio. And then people were like, well, I think Kill was way stronger than Gon.
Did
How
you
dare
see
you
the
infer
scene
that he was
where
only a
Killua
little
drew it out in the sand and he had the stick and he showed the difference in their power? Did you not see that, Matt? Did you do your research?
Yes. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, why is this a thing that people are bitching about? Like, it's such a non-issue in my argument. The important part was the level differences, and I was like, oh yeah.
Matt,
I think
what makes you think that commenters on YouTube care about what your argument is?
That is a very good point. I love it because
Log Horizon having a second season and Bakugo being smart.
There we go. And also did you not realize that in episode 1 they say Midoriya is going to be the #1 character? That was the worst one I've gotten. Is I had my video is Bakugo will be the next #1 hero. In the video at the 7-minute mark,
mention it.
I bring it up and then say it's part of my argument, and I have hundreds, possibly in the thousands at this point, of comments who were like, yeah, clearly. Yeah. And everyone, I just want to go through and like replace like, oh, how ignorant of me to not simply sit through the entirety of said content and make something like a comment on a fucking. It's like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, you do realize I've brought this exact debate up in my argument.
I just want to like go to those people and say, actually, that was in the second episode.
When the video first came out, I was just like fucking posting the time code where I brought that argument up on all of them. But once it got past 100, I was like, fuck this shit.
Can't do this anymore. My life has value.
Yeah. I mean, I was happy because the video was getting a fuckload of views, but at the same time, it was like, I'm not going to sit through
That's
this
actually
shit.
a strategy. It's kind of a strategy that I started doing like at the beginning of my channel, where you say something that's like blatantly wrong to the point where people just comment en masse about why you're wrong so that you get a shit ton of comments.
That's some bullshit.
So it's
you do that intentionally.
Yeah, of course. But like, it's not just that I want a shit ton of comments, although that is a definite benefit. It's just that that's like part of my sense of humor is saying things that are just ridiculous and wrong with a totally straight face.
That's
like,
fantastic.
One of my favorite AniTube videos is Digi's animes getting lazy with its meta, where he says like, the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya is about this girl named the Melancholy, where like calls Evangelion Gundam Wing through the whole thing.
It's rude.
That's the kind of humor that I just fucking love.
I can see that. That's pretty great.
This guy. I don't get the appeal of Yuri manga or general LGB stuff in any medium. Unless it's tackling the issue of stigma, what's the point? If it's romance or drama, couldn't one or more parties just be replaced with a male character? It's really weird to me if it's not all about the aesthetic. It goes on.
Wait, where's this from?
For like 5... Wait, sorry if I seem like someone who just doesn't get it and is too fast to criticize, but I want to understand what's up with this SJW boom in all mediums. If you can give me a series that tackles some of the topics I've brought up, or something that answers some more of these questions, I'd be more than happy to read it. There's a comment on Zeria's new video here, going over good Yuri manga for beginners.
Sorry if I come across as someone who just doesn't get it, after having spent the first part of his comment saying, hey, I'm someone who just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I assume this is a guy.
Yeah.
I guess I shouldn't do that.
That's incredible.
Yeah?
Yeah,
now we're just roasting
covering
commenters.
Yuri as prominently as she does here. My good friend Zeria gets quite a few eyebrow-raising comments. It's good stuff.
You know, now that you bring up Zeria, and we talked about this expanded podcast universe, have we ever considered, well, Matt's the one who runs this thing, have you ever considered having any more, like, special guests, just for, like, an episode, like, featuring this person?
On Hallway Chats itself, you're saying?
Yes. Well, yeah, because I was thinking more specifically this podcast.
Yeah. No, I think we had discussed maybe having a second look on at one point before he like dropped off the face of the earth and stopped making videos. He's got one. He's coming back. He's almost at 10K. He's mentioned on Twitter that he's gonna make a comeback here, so we'll see. But yeah, I'd love to have Zeria on and other various guests.
I think my biggest issue with it is that it's kind of one of these things where we have set the quality to a certain standard.
Yeah, the art.
I don't particularly...
We can't have someone on if we don't have art for them. What the comments?
Well, yeah, but that's part of it. And then also, it's just kind of a case of if we were to add people onto the podcast, I don't want it to become like an interview-esque podcast. I've done those before, and they're fun. They're entertaining, but you do kind of get to the point where it's like the podcast is less about us and about what guests we have on next.
It's not about the topic, and it ends up being just like about this individual person.
So don't do that?
I think if we have like a really specific reason to have a certain person on the podcast, I would be okay with it. Like I don't want to like just completely like no, absolutely not. Let's say like Zeria, he's making this huge comeback and he makes his new video and it gets like 100,000 views, and then he wants to like keep that momentum going and like be able to like express his opinions, and we'd like to come on this podcast to do it.
Zeria's a girl.
That's something. Sorry, I haven't been watching any tubers recently, but if she wanted to come on the podcast and just chat with us, that'd be something I'd be interested in hearing if she had something she wanted to say that she couldn't do in one of her videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously, if we discuss Yuri at any point or want to do so, she is the Yuri goddess, so she'd be one to have. But no, I think your general policy there makes sense.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where it's situational. Like if someone comes to us who is, I feel like they have to be an AniTuber, who was like, hey, I want to be on the podcast, and they made a really good argument, I'd be like, yeah, sure.
Present your case to the court of Hallway Chats, and we'll consider you.
No, and I don't want to come off as like mean or anything about that. I love that kind of stuff, but at the same time, it's just like that's not what this podcast is particularly about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be a good example. Like if we were to do a podcast specifically on Yuri, and she's like a specialist in Yuri, that would be like the perfect example. That would be like, oh yeah, That makes sense. I mean, after all, that's how we introduced you into the podcast. So we had the podcast with you.
Pedro, who's a specialist on Pedro.
Exactly.
No, that sounds fair. I was just, I don't know, something I just thought of.
Just trying to put an idea out here. I know you complain about me
smart.
not talking, so the moment I talk, you shoot my idea down. I see how it is. I'll just go back to my corner. Thanks, guys.
I didn't shoot it down. I know that's a really interesting. That's a really good question. Actually, we haven't talked. I don't think we've talked about that.
No, not
all.
much. I don't think. Has the discussion taken place?
All right. Do we have anything else we want to say, or you want to call it a class?
Call it a class.
Call it a
We've
class.
fleshed out a good show here.
This show came out great considering we ran out of topics halfway through.
Indeed.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Manime Matt.
Explanation points.
Pedantic Romantic.
And Math Whiz and my corner.
All right, we'll see you guys next